blessed, and you?
Very well, thanks. I think I can recognize you.
Yeah, the friend to the shadow worker.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Please.
I'm good. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's afternoon.
Yes, I just wanted to say something concerning the issue of Fazi and the forest rangers. I'm a forest ranger supporter.
Okay.
Yes, now I think I'm one of the people who used to support Andrew Kamanga as the executive. But of late, the happenings in Fazi, I think they are very not straightforward. You remember last time when the season opened, the Forest Rangers were supposed to start their week one game with another team, but instead, Fazi gave an order that Forest Rangers should instead face Nkana and play week 20. And then there was some confusion there. Forest Rangers could not fulfill that fixture, and the points were taken away from Forest Rangers for not fulfilling week 20 in week 1. So we thought there was something fishy there from Ghana. Again, now the second thing, for the second time, the results have come out. Forest Rangers declared to say we have 28 players who have been tested positive for COVID-19. And what do Fazi do? They still expected them to go ahead and play. They give points to Zanako just for free, just like that. I think we are not convinced as supporters for Forest Rangers. There must be some corrupt elements there within the Fazi. Because it's like these two teams are being favored. Can you send a text message to that gentleman? Is it the league manager from Fazi?
Yes, Brian Mulenga.
Yes, he was on Sunday FM this morning. Why is he not picking up your calls? We want him to come and make a clarification concerning this saga of the Forest Rangers and the Zanaco game. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gilbert. All right. Gilbert has a genuine plea here. Mapalo, what do you make of his concern? All right. He's a Forest Rangers fan, aficionado, and he feels his club is being undone.
Well, obviously, he's more affected than any of us, and obviously it's painful because Zanaco themselves did not have the test results and were there to play apparently. But the only problem comes in when Forest Rangers published that they had 28 players and staff who tested positive for COVID-19. But after the Ministry of Health themselves took it, it was found that only 10 of those tested actually positive for this COVID-19. So maybe the docking of points I do feel it was harsh, but maybe it was made in frustration of non-compliance. And well, I would have loved the communications manager, Mr. Sidney Mungala, to be here, or to hear from Mr. Brian himself. We really need to understand what's really going on. And please, I would like to appeal to every single fan of Bola Yapa Z. COVID-19 it's something new. We've never experienced it. This has never happened. It's an anomaly. It's an abnormality. It's something that we didn't expect. So, as Chair already said, it's a learning curve. We're still trying to understand certain things and how to deal with certain issues pertaining to this. So I would like everyone to, at least take it easy with FAS and the clubs, because this is the first time we're handling such a situation in our country, and we're not as blessed in terms of wealth in order to deal with such a situation like countries like England. If a well-established country like the Netherlands just cancelled their league decided to declare it null and void when Ajax and of course AZ Alkmaar were going toe for toe for that league. It's a difficult situation. I still commend FAS for trying to bring back football, but of course health matters, and it's sad for the three teams, which are Kawa Youth Soccer Academy, Mufulira Wanderers, and the Sugar Boys Nakambala Leopards, who still thought they had a chance of surviving. Yes, and unfortunately, there's nothing we could do at this point. We need to promote teams, and other teams need to go down. And to have 14 points and 17 points at this season, you deserve to be where you are. I'm sorry, with all due respect.
Okay, all right, Chair, your take on the gentleman's concern.
Yeah, like I've said, you do feel for passengers and their fan base, and let me put it this way: 28 people testing for COVID-19 and 10 people testing for COVID-19. It's still COVID-19. It's still a disease. It's still I mean, regardless of the number, fewer numbers from 28, it's still COVID-19. Now, I was just telling you over break here that Forest Rangers could have played the tricks, if they were not patriotic enough. They would have kept the results under wraps and be able to play the game and release the results late after the game.
The only issue here is that it looks like they did not want to play that game.
Well, if they did not want to play the game, but the fact of the matter is they were patriotic enough, and as a result, they presented the results. So if it was another team, they could have kept the results, played the game, then later say, okay, I have my results here. But all things being equal, whether it was 28 or it was 10 that was affected, it's still COVID-19. We need to feel for them. The Zambian FA needs to have looked at it, from a critical angle, and just give it another assessment. Look at it. Did we do it right? Were we right in awarding the points? Were the reasons compelling enough, for us to be able to do that? Because even if it was the number that was announced by the Minister of Health and Minister of Health was 10, it's still COVID-19 that affected Forest Rangers.
Okay, all right, 0960-200-490, and I'll be running through the log standings in a teeny tiny bit. Okay, so here we go with our caller. All right, you are through to Backpage. Good morning. Your name, please. Alfred Fernandez Maluba.
Ask him if it's any relation.
All right. Any relationship with Javier Hernandez? Since you're or Bruno Fernandez, since you are Alfred, is it Hernandez Maluba? I see. Oh, okay. The DNA. Awesome. Great stuff. All right, cheers. Okay. We've been joined by the Zamjirian all mask staff. He doesn't want to take chances.
In this pandemic.
Thank you. I'm here.
Awesome.
Lorenzo calls me up this morning. Emmanuel, I hope you're coming now.
He wants to talk about Manu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we have a lot to talk about, definitely. All right. Now, let me cap off the local front with the log standings, and then we move on to the international front. Juventus being crowned champions is one of those that we probably have to talk about, and we'll have the Zamjirian just hitting the ground running from that perspective. So looking at the FAS MTN log standing, 2 games to play. Napster Stars won yesterday, 2-0. They are now top with 48 points. In second slot is in Nkana. They have a game in hand. They have 46 points. Forest Rangers are third with 46 as well. It's not yet done and dusted. One might want to argue for Forest. There's still something to play for. All right. Then Green Eagles are fourth there with 44 points. Those are the top 4. Those that are going down, those that have gone down, Kawa Youth Soccer Academy, Mighty Mufulira Wanderers, how the mighty are falling, as one might want to put it, Nakambala Leopards, and then Kansanshi Dynamos are the bottom 4. All right, we've been joined by Mfundisi. All right, how are you doing, brother, man?
Very well, thank you, Lorenzo.
Very well. We're sorry with what happened during the week, but how are you coping now?
You can imagine today there's no car. I had to be dropped by madam.
My goodness.
And I told her, okay, look, I'm gonna find my way after Backpage.
My goodness.
But I mean, we thank God. What is important is life. I was preserved. It was a very strange freak sort of accident. It was on a four-way lane, and then the police, Land Cruiser with its boobas was coming from
the other direction.
Yeah, from the eastern direction. Then I was heading from the south to the north. I was heading to the north out of Lilai. And then I was already on the junction. Then I just saw this blue Zambia police, Land Cruiser coming, tried to swerve. He tried to brake, but I think he must have been a bit fast. So he hit into it. And the rest is history. The good thing is that I'm okay. Yesterday, I managed to be part of the Super Sport commentary as well with Matimba on the NAPSA, 2 Buildcon 0 match with Collins Kombe netting a brilliant brace. I mean, you are just going through the table, which gives NAPSA now a chance of playing continental football.
Now, Muhammad Fat is your good friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
You went to town saying they've qualified for continental football, when in fact not. Kindly bring us up to speed with the excitement in the NAPSA camp. So they might get one of the two. Either they might qualify for continental football, or they might win the league.
Yeah, because obviously, if you look at the league, it's 4 teams that qualify to continental football, and as it is, it looks like it's almost done and dusted for them. As far as because they are on 48 points, and the team that comes next is Zanaco, which is on 40 in that top 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So really, the next in the top 5, Zesco United is on 44. Now, assuming they win both their games, Zesco, they'll go into 49. But then NAPSA play against Forest. So meaning that if they just get a point, they are almost there. So really, they are in there literally as we speak, but not yet confirmed. Yeah, I mean, we have to be very careful with that. He went to town indeed, and we were speaking with him, and he was telling me afterwards that, look, this is what we set as a target to play continental football, and I think that they are in it with a shout. And if Nkana don't win today, then certainly they will be confirmed as one of those teams probably that will be going into continental football, because now they only have 1 game left to play. In terms of the championship, still, I think that they cannot celebrate the championship yet, because obviously all those teams that are in the top 4 do have a chance of winning the title. But they played some lovely football. They didn't look like a side that had been on break. You remember that the league was suspended in March, and that was like 3 months in between. And they were playing a Buildcon side that had already drawn with Power Dynamos, the opening match of the season, of the restart. And then obviously Buildcon benefited from the boardroom. Nakambala Leopards did not travel. So they came into this game, NAPSA Stars, with something to prove against the Buildcon side that had built up a bit of momentum. They didn't play very well against Power Dynamos, but they came back, showed character to draw 1-1. Their captain, Chanda Mushidi, netting. But in this particular game yesterday, they were undone by defensive frailties. The 2 defensive partnership, the defensive partnership of Yango Sansunzu and the experienced Zambia International Isaac Shamjompa couldn't just cope with the trickery and pace of the likes of Collins Sikombe and Danny Silavwe, and they played some lovely football, in terms of build-up, build-con, but in the final third again, poor. They have some very exciting West Africans, by the way, some Nigerian players. They have some Ghanaians in there. Their goalkeeper is from Buildcon, is from Cameroon. Njana, he had a fantastic game. They could have lost by a tennis scoreline, maybe 6-0 or something like that, but he kept them into the game. 6-love, indeed, is the way they say it in tennis. But look, I think that going forward, they have another Ghanaian, ferocious striker, very well built. He's got a physicality, but unfortunately in this particular game came off the bench, Jamal, but couldn't, make things happen for them. And they are still in the danger of going down Buildcon, because it's not yet decided in terms of the 4 that will be going down in, to Division 1. But midweek, it's all going to be settled. The champions will be known, and then those who will be relegated, 4 teams will also be known. If a team does not want to play, it will go to the boardroom for whatever reason. It will go to the boardroom. The boardroom will be able to make a decision. Already, Forest Rangers are bearing the brunt of refusing to play in their first, match since restarting, because they had even appeared at the stadium. They were in their bus and so on. And some people were saying that they didn't even have masks on and so on. And then later on said, oh, we have this and that. And then the first disciplinary committee came down heavily and gave Zanaco the 3 points and a 3-0 scoreline. So if the teams, particularly announcing their own issues, because you need to communicate to the FA to say, this is our situation. These are the number of players that have been affected that we have had to withdraw.
So they went to town.
Because
start the results by a street poll.
You start announcing yourselves to say these are the number of players that have been hit. Even NAPSA had the same scenario. They did mention, but look at their first 11. Maybe just 1 or 2 players we are missing, even on the bench. Their entire first 11 was intact as they played yesterday, with the exception of 1 or 2 players. And when you looked at the bench, the likes of Emmanuel Mayuka were still on that particular bench for NAPSA Stars. So when they say 19 players, does it include the youth? Because if your first 11 is untouched with just 2 or 3 players, then which are these players that have been affected? But I think that in the end, life is more precious. And we know that the cases of the coronavirus are surging. And in my opinion, the Football Association of Zambia done very well in taking a decisive decision to shorten the league. It has not suspended, it has not nulled and void. It's just shortened the league. So midweek, there will be, somebody will be crying, winazalira, winango, azankara okondwera. Just like Liverpool fans, when I at Manchester United, Akangi of Champions League, we were here, when we support Leicester City. At the end of the game, Manchester United 2, Leicester City 0. Liverpool fans, when I will lead among us when I win the league, which was a big disappointment for them because they had hoped that Manchester United would not get into the Champions League. My bucket, my brother supports Leicester City, so we are with Leicester City. Jerry is not even here today. And I warned them, I said, don't be against Manchester United. You will fail to enjoy even your league triumph. Because we'll be together in the Champions League, and that means trouble.
The Zamjarian United are in the Champions League pro, but I would want to get your reaction to that effect before Mapalo comes in.
I think Babuzo has really entered it. I think Man United are just on the way up. I'm very excited about our potential. I think Man United and Chelsea are probably the only 2 teams that will be challenging Liverpool and Man City next season. It depends on the signings we bring in, from the good football that we played. I think Man United were top of the table from the teams when we started. I mean, we just won so many games. We played such good football, and it just shows that Man United, I think our fans can really look in positivity. That next season is going to be very exciting if we get the signings right, most especially. But I think Martial is coming into his own. He looks like a formidable striker now. Bruno Fernandes has really helped him, unlocked him. Pogba just needs to dance around. I think he's also showing a lot of the Pogba we saw in the World Cup for France. I think Man United is looking very, very interesting. Let's see what happens next season. But for those that thought we will not make Champions League, now you're coming to our turf, and now trouble is coming. Because trust me, when Man United play in Champions League, whoever is in our group is going to get it. Now we're coming with a lot of fights. It's been a long time we've been in there, and I think Mourinho is also kind of envious that he wasn't the one to take us back. But I'm very grateful as a Man United fan, and let's see what we can pull off next season, both in the league and Champions League.
Okay, Mapalo, and then Chair. Chair has been so dismissive of United in the early exchanges of the season. I'll be interested to hear what you say. But after Mapalo, focus is on United winning its qualification to the Champions League. And then many fans believe that it was so amazing to see how United celebrated the Champions League qualification.
Why do you have to rub it in?
Wait, answer that question.
Why?
What position did we finish?
Is it third?
Is it? You know the position.
And we won't have to play qualifiers in the Champions League.
Thank you. That means it was just 2 teams that were better than Man United this season.
The team that was sitting third was relegated to 4th, and they have to play qualifiers for Champions League.
Do they still do that?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I think for the
No, I
for
think the
top-
fourth team plays qualification,
Yeah,
Champions
they
League
do.
qualification.
Oh, I thought they scrapped that for the top 5 leagues, for the top 3 leagues rather.
I'm not sure
Uh,
if top 4
sure.
still plays a qualification.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
they
sure.
just go directly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's directly.
Yeah.
But the God of Igalo came through. Man United has been out of the top 4. I'm not sure for how long.
Last game.
It's funny how I'm being depicted as a super hater here. Meanwhile, a month ago, I declared
Yeah,
United to be favorites. I said that, and I'm here being attacked, saying no, my uncle supports Leicester City, so I was
No. It's not for you. You have daring, but there are others. They know themselves and they are listening. I'm sure they are monitoring.
no.
We will not mention names. We'll just say that they are monitoring.
Yeah, and even when I said in terms of monetary aspect, Manchester United is third, I had a statement to say I couldn't care less.
That's what Jerry for you.
Yeah, because
Like
it's
clutching
Real
at straws.
Madrid, Barcelona, and Manchester United.
Yeah,
In terms of financial mass.
that's right.
Yeah, but that was a statement that came out.
Yeah.
It
On the
was
group.
simply washed off the drain.
Imagine.
Like you're clutching on
Who
straws.
was the person that congratulated us? Someone said congratulations, but Man United have won the most penalties, something like that. I was like, why can't we just get credit? One time. I think it was Jerry.
Yeah, it should have been Jerry.
Yeah, and then when people cry about penalties, in football you create your own luck,
Thank you.
and that shows the attacking intent that
Yes,
this
sir.
Manchester United side has, and they're very quick on the break. And as a result of that, they are drawing fouls and they are also drawing, penalties as a result of that. So you cannot come out and say, the referees have been very kind, because
Yeah.
every of those decisions,
Yeah.
most of the time they have been reviewed by VAR.
Yeah.
And the video assistant referees have okayed those penalties.
Yeah.
That just shows you that this new Manchester United side has gone back to the Manchester United of old,
Yeah.
which used to attack at pace, and that's what's been lacking. The likes of Martial, Marcus Rashford, and Manson. That's the way you say it.
Mason.
Mason.
Yeah, Mason.
Mason Greenwood.
Mason. One
But
Liverpool fan.
Mchinyanja ni Mason.
You don't have any this year, but because we have these Liverpool fans who would want to find Mason.
No M, Mason. Yes, Mason. Yeah, Mason.
Okay.
Mason.
Tizamba kumwitara mngani wa kuchipata. Mason Greenwood. Those are very quick players, and this is what, and even Bruno Fernandes himself,
Very
because the moment Manchester United grab the ball off you and they come at you, counter attack, then you are almost dead and buried. And this is why, if you saw in the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea were pressing from the front. They will nick the ball off you before you get to your Fernandez's and so on and so forth, and they just broke down the Manchester United system. So if you're not aware of that, you're gonna get hurt. And so the penalties really are deserved. And by the way, attacking the same way. What stops you, other clubs, from attacking the same way?
Why don't you get your own penalty?
Precisely,
That's
get your
what
own
I'm trying to
penalty.
say.
And if it's Rupia Banda would have said what, Lorenzo? We should my penalties.
Yeah, I'm done.
But having said that, very quickly, also we talked about the league, Lorenzo. I don't know whether it has been confirmed.
No, you can talk.
Mufulira Wanderers, Kaisa, and Nakambala Leopards
I've been relegated.
because even if they win the remaining matches, they will not be able to get out of the drop zone. That's the most unfortunate part when it comes to decisions like this. But again, life is much more precious than anything else.
But
And I think
Lorenzo, sorry, Mamuso, I think you need to add in there that would mean everybody would have played 28 games.
27
27 games
equal.
to the end of the season, right?
Absolutely.
So 27 games, you should have had enough opportunity
Precisely.
before this moment to say,
To survive.
okay, yeah, so don't give me the next, 5 games that you will have saved yourself.
Yeah.
You can't. You never know.
Thank you. You had 27 games to prove a point, and we can't, risk people's lives and their families
That's right.
because of a situation like this.
Yeah.
So please, I think this is a very important moment that we should give fans the credit.
That's
for
right.
coming together at such a quick time
Mhm.
and giving these players at least a fair 2 games.
Yeah.
Now Zesco can win the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, if the teams above them should lose and Zesco win their 2 games, so they have also given teams opportunity to win the league, and some unfortunately out of 26, 27 they're going down. So I think it's very fair for me.
Yeah,
Alright,
and Maite does carry tag that Maite win a chungu. So they left it late. Normally they leave it late for them to be able to survive.
So
so even this, it would have been the same. Now, coming to penalties.
Are you sure it would have been the same?
Well,
they would have survived. Are you sure? There's nobody who can say with certainty, you know. There's nobody who can say with certainty that if they had played on to the end, then they would have survived relegation.
Well,
of course, everybody. Yeah, of course, everybody. Yeah. I like what you have put across, Chairman. But the point is that you can never know. They would have easily lost, or they could have survived. It's a 50-50 situation. But like the Zamjurian has said, it is the fairest way under the circumstances to have all teams play equal number of matches before you finally say that the league has now ended. So basically it's shortened. Everybody will not play their last 7 or so matches. You know, you would have played the number of matches which is equal. And based on those, unfortunately, for some, they may be relegated. Like the 3 that you have already mentioned, I think that they have gone down. It is uncertain times, and nobody could have foreseen this particular development.
Yeah, now coming to penalties, like, people are alluding to the penalties that Manchester United were being awarded. One Jose Mourinho also said it's good that Bruno Fernandes came to Manchester United and he was scoring more penalties.
But 20 penalties.
The 20 penalties. When did Bruno score 20?
He was just being naughty.
Yeah, but we need again to remind ourselves that penalties win World Cup. Germany won the World Cup with a penalty. So it's part of the game, it's part and parcel of the game. Now, getting forward, I want to believe that Manchester United should be able to go on the market. I believe my take is a defense is no fault.
Sorry, Chair. Just to say, it's various reports in Portugal linking Man United with a move for Wolves international Mexican striker Raul Jimenez, which would be exciting because he's deadly and proven in the league. United.
Yeah. No, he's a good lad. He's a good lad. Raul Jimenez is a very good lad. Look at the kind of goal. He's one boy that can score using the head, using the legs.
He's fast.
Yeah, and he's fast. Strong. Very good. If Manchester United can go for him, I would appreciate it, because when you look at the kind of strikers that we have, even Anton Machao, it's like a moody person. Yeah. When he's in mood, you get your goals. When he's not, then you'll be flat completely.
And just to answer, I'm sorry. I think when Igalo came in, he felt a little unsettled.
Yeah, unsettled,
and he started playing good after Igalo started shining. So also Martial needs someone to
push him. Just like Rashford. Yeah. Rashford as well. You need somebody that can be able
to push him. Only problem with him is he's 29.
Yeah,
29.
But that would be an added advantage because he can help groom Martial, who's only 23 right now. So
And the other thing is, I'm not a fan of going for Sancho. Jadon Sancho, where you want to buy him at 110. For what? 110, you could be able to spend it about 3 players. Yeah. Look at what Manchester City has done. You're going for a player, 41 million. Torres, yes. Yeah, which is very good.
Nathan Ake.
Yeah, that's a good spend. And the player is okay. He was with Chelsea, remember? Yeah. He played for Chelsea. If things couldn't work out, then he had to get to the other team. So even for Manchester United, I think they should stop this idea of going for higher purchase, bigger bids. Even Maguire, as we speak, for me, I think it's not worth the 80 million.
He's not worth it, but he has helped improve your defense, to be honest. In a very he's an upgrade.
What normally happens, first on Raul Jimenez, no doubt is a good striker, but I think that it looks like he's going to Italy. Inter Milan, most likely. Those reports, what normally happens with transfer rumors with Manchester United, they get linked with all sorts of players, because what agents do, they nearly try to sell their players to Manchester United through the press.
The highest
so they'll say, Manchester United is interested in this player. And then if you are Inter Milan or something, you'll be forced to pay over the top. Because you might be aware that United are interested and they might come in. And it also works the other way around. You remember even with the Maguire, issue. At some point, we were told that Manchester City had come in. So what Manchester City was trying to do was to ensure that United pay over the top. You remember even with Sanchez, it was the same thing. United had to pay Sanchez a lot of money because Manchester City were interested. And Jose Mourinho signed, in my view, Sanchez not because he really needed him,
but because he thought that was going to make Manchester City a lot more stronger. And so what has happened is that Sanchez fell for the money. I think he should have gone to Man City, but because the money that was coming from Manchester United, became too much for him to say no. So there are all those dynamics that play out. So if you look at a guy like Jadon Sancho, I think that United would need him because there have been situations where United have failed to break down teams. And Jadon Sancho is very direct. But truth be told, is not worth 110 million. But you see, Borussia Dortmund are not desperate to sell. So this is a player who will come and improve Manchester United. They'll put a price tag. It's the same thing with Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, they're talking about 80 million pounds and nothing less. Jack Grealish is not worth that amount of money.
Not even half
But
of
but he's already bought a house in Manchester.
But
He should live in the house.
but the point is this, that if it's Manchester United, already Chairman has been speaking about that United are among the best in terms of the wealthy clubs. So the moment United registers its interest, the prices are driven up. The market just goes crazy. And talking about the market as
just on that one, the market, when they went in for Jadon Sancho, it was 98 million. Manchester United, the opening bid was 98.
And it was rejected.
And it was rejected. They said, no, 98 is too little. We want 120. You can carry on.
So there are those stories of an opening bid, although reports in Germany say that there hasn't been any bid whatsoever. There hasn't been any bid. Because yesterday, I think the sporting director of Borussia Dortmund was talking, and he said, we would want ideally to keep this player. And according to reports in Germany, there has been no bid that has been made this far. Because honestly, in Manchester United, they are trying to look at their books. Of course, they have got the money, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did make it very clear that they do have the money as Manchester United, even amidst the coronavirus pandemic. But the question is this player worth that much? So probably they could be looking at a number of options. But in my view, this is a player that they need. And I was about to say something about Dominic Szoboszlai. Dominic Szoboszlai, who is at Red Bull Softbank. You remember that this particular week, Mwepu, Patson Daka, they flew back. And Szoboszlai was being linked with AC Milan because Ralf Rangnick, who was sporting director in the groups of the Red Bull group, because there are so many teams under the Red Bull umbrella. And it was hoped that it was going to go to AC Milan, and Dominic was going to go there as well. But in talking about Dominic, because now Ralph had signed a deal, and then not with AC Milan, but has now ripped it up and so on. He's not becoming the AC Milan coach. The coach at AC Milan has renewed his deal there. But what is critical about what I'm saying is that when they made a statement, Red Bull Suspect, they even mentioned Patson Daka and Computer Mwepu, saying that we don't want these three players to leave because they have already let Wang go. But they're saying these three players we want to keep. What that means is that they're looking for more money if they're going to let them go. And these boys have been told by Zambia coach Milutin Micho Sredojevic that they are very important for Zambia and they need to be very patient in terms of their next move. So just thought that probably now as the transfer window has opened in Europe, we should also be keeping tabs on our own Zambian lads. And top of the bill is indeed Mwepu and Daka, who the club are saying they are not for sale.
Not for sale indeed. 0960-200-490. Jojo Zilenga says, what happens to the teams in Division 1 or 2 who have qualified to the Super League? You are saying there is no upgrading of teams to the Super League?
They'll come. Yeah. 4 will be promoted. Yeah.
Okay, then Mr. says, I would be happy to see NAPSA win the league. All right, then Benny Muma says, Bamuzo, welcome.
Thank you, Vamatero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Truth is, there will be twists and turns as we get into this weekend. You remember Nkana at Red Arrows?
That's right.
And you all know what Red Arrows can be able to do to teams that would want to win the league. We could be reminded of Zanaco a few years ago. They were beaten 4-0. Nkana themselves, they were beaten, and was it Cabo Warriors in the transitional league? They were beaten by Red Arrows. So it's a tough call for Nkana this weekend. So really, we should be able to see a lot of twists and turns by the end of the day.
That's right.
All right. Mutaletuka says, good afternoon, panel. Watching you from Australia. Continue updating us.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mutaletuka. Machai Lee Jr. says, good afternoon. Mafalo Mache, watching from Minwood, Chamba Valley. I'm wishing my team Arsenal all the best in the FA Cup final tonight. Yeah, we're getting there in just a moment. And then Chanda Chimbalam says, good afternoon, Lorenzo and guests. Forest Rangers have not been deducted points. The 3 points awarded to Zanaco are because Rangers lied about the number of positive tests of COVID-19 that they submitted to FAS. FAS have done justice on this case. Then Paul Edwin Wumba says, good afternoon, watching from Kabulonga Sable Road. Thank you, Paul. Then Musilizo Simasiko says, watching you from Kalingalinga. Manu for life next season title contenders. Enjoying the show. Then Kelvin Mukukapiri says, do FAS have a separate body to manage the MTN league? All right. And then Lucky Malupande,
just a quick one on that one, Lorenzo. We are coming to it. There's a Zambia Premier League, that has been established. There should be a delinkage, that so that the Zambian FA can be able to run the national team. Then the Super League could have, its own body that will be run. We are not yet there, but there are all maneuvers towards that separation.
That direction.
Yeah.
All right. Like he says, watching you from Lilaimo. Lorenzo, pass my regards to all of the panelists. FA Cup Arsenal versus Chelsea. Today we lift this trophy again. Well, I know him to be Arsenal. Matthew Sakala watching from Lundazi. John J. Banda says, thank God you are safe from Uzo.
You must learn that. You must learn that. Every time you hear that in Lundazi is Boxwanu Kanere.
Boxwanu Kanere. Crazy, eh? Rexon says, good afternoon, panelists watching live. Tresford Simwaka says, I'm watching you. Thank you, Tresford. Chasaya Walia says, good afternoon, my beloved. All right.
Afternoon to you.
Listat says, welcome, Bamuzo and Zamjarian. We thank God that you are safe from Fundisi. Come on. All right. Then Philip Chela says, hi, Lorenzo, with the FA Cup final. Will the FA Cup be televised on TSTV this evening? Yes. All right. And then John P. Pondala says, good afternoon, Lorenzo, Mapalo Emmanuel, Bachea, and Mfundisi.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
All right. Now, John P. Pondala is asking for help. He says, I'm watching you live from UTH, and I'm kindly asking for 100 kwacha for the operation of my mother, who is admitted here. I have managed to raise 300 kwacha for the required 400 kwacha. And then he says, if anyone can assist in that regard, they'll need to get in touch with the number that is actually put here. All right. John will be calling you after the program. All right, and thank you very much for tuning into the program.
The 100 kwacha, brother.
Not a problem, yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, John. And then Samanash Moviana says the panel is too biased towards Man United. Imagine if it was objective. You could have been the best show in Zambia. Someone throwing slack at us.
It is the best show in Zambia. No, it's just that it's Man United dominated today.
Truth be said, Liverpool have been the best team in the last 2 years. No doubt about it. You remember in the last season, they were just a few points off Manchester City, just a point off Manchester City. They won the Champions League. They were a better team. They continued from where they left off last season, and this time around, they could not leave anything to chance. And hence, they've been declared champions. I'll bet they're not into the Champions League. They were knocked out. But on the basis of them winning the league and the Champions League in the last season, honestly speaking, Liverpool deserves commendation.
Thank you.
It's been a very good side.
My question arises to say, on what is that particular comment premised on?
Exactly. No, what club does he support? Because you probably want.
I think he's just bantering. Chelsea.
Maybe
you don't banter with the panel by dressing them down and saying you have been the best. you should cite a specific where you feel the panel has been biased, they are not objective. So that work on it. Don't just throw stones on a passing vehicle. You know what? Because we endeavor.
What's his name? Yeah, we endeavor.
We'll endeavor to be as objective as is possible. Even when Manchester United have been rubbish, we've come here and said they have been rubbish. There are very few. I mean, when David De Gea was licking in goals, we came here and slated him. So if a team Peter Mumbali, it doesn't matter your team. And we'll even say, at one point, I think on the Manchester United, Facebook page, I made some very funny comments. I said, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does not manage to get top 4, we'll begin to question his credentials as a manager, because these are key moments. And then some chap came, what kind of a Man U fan are you? Look, we have to be objective.
Okay.
Whether we love you, when you make a mistake, we'll tell you. And football, you are judged based on your performance today. De Gea might have been the best 3-4 seasons ago. But if he makes blunders today, we will say it as it is. So, Bakalamba, it's a very good comment, but pinpoint and say this is where the issue is, and then we'll address it.
Yeah, just Lorenzo, you said I disparaged Manchester United. That's
in the early days.
But you remember, was one person
That's
that
objectivity.
Yeah,
yeah. Just leave it there. And say that's
Objectivity.
yeah, if a guy is saying the panel is biased, but if the chairman was disparaging Manchester United's chances,
Early
then
season.
that tells you that there's a lot of objectivity, because he looked at the Manchester United side and he was not convinced that they could end up in the top 4. And for most part of the season, it looked like that. And this is why Manchester United fans were celebrating as if they had won the league, because they had been outside that top 4 for a long period. And then even on the weekend of the conclusion last weekend, you know what happened? Because they were vying with Chelsea and Leicester City. And at some point, it was 0-0. Manchester United
45 minutes.
Precisely. And Chelsea were 2-0 up, meaning Chelsea were sitting in 3rd position going into the second half. And it meant that if Jamie Vardy's header, which just cannon off the crossbar, had gone in, United were not going to be in the top 4. And suddenly, the team which was playing 5th for most season had finished number 3.
Yes, 6th. Yeah,
precise.
Yeah, they were gallivanting between 6th and 8th.
That's the word, gallivanting. Then we was special number 3. Surely, even if Suzu will win,
I think
ili akulishe na kilimba tawaishi bakita wasabe tabakeba bila you care man bela but atabango naye
wewe wamkono
you can sing kuimba kilimba walishe na kita wewe washana
I think the conclusion was just. I think all Bamuzo is saying is, Man United, we are allowed to celebrate.
Precisely.
When we do well, when our team does well, we should celebrate.
You should celebrate.
We all came here and gave Liverpool credit when they eventually
precisely.
We celebrate each other,
and
that's just the moment.
And by the way, Emmanuel, do you know that Jose Mourinho was celebrating?
Thank you.
60th place Europa League
qualification?
Mourinho was jumping up and down for qualifying for Europa. Then you wanted a 3rd place team not to celebrate because they're gonna be caught.
But that day when he beat Hotspurs,
yeah,
you remember he wasn't happy with Jose Mourinho because he knew that he had given a chance to Manchester United to be able to go 3rd.
When they beat Leicester.
Oh, Leicester City 3 goals to 0. Yeah, he wasn't happy, but he said, "Na pushing a club,
Let's start with the Zamjirian. Epic final, Chelsea versus Arsenal.
Woo!
Record winners, Arsenal up against the Chelsea side with Frank
Arsenal
Lampard, showing a lot of energy permeated to his youngsters.
Arsenal have 13 FA Cup trophies, if I'm not,
Yes.
mistaken. I think
Second United or Chelsea.
Arsenal probably have the upper hand going off the Man City game. I think they had the top opposition. I'm a Man United fan, and I'm telling you right now, they had the top opposition to get to the final.
Yeah.
And they played really well. I couldn't picture David Luiz ever defending like that against the Manchester City side after his his movie at the restart of the season. So I was very, very interested and happy that Arsenal even made it to the final. Unfortunately, my club couldn't be there, falling to Chelsea. But I think Arsenal will probably come up with the victory in this one. That's my estimation. I think Chelsea and Arsenal probably have horrible defenses right now. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, probably 5-3 or something like that, because the attack is very, very interesting. Pulisic is growing into his own. Giroud looks like he can't stop scoring at the moment. So I think this is a very, very interesting final. I think no one should really miss that. The whole 90 minutes, keep your eyes on, because a goal can go in any moment. Aubameyang, like I said, they're also looking very, very strong. It's looking like Lacazette and Aubameyang might stay in Arsenal. You never know, but I think Arsenal is looking very strong with Arteta. And Arteta looks like he probably was the one doing the formations for Pep Guardiola, because since he left Man City, they haven't really looked like themselves till probably the final day of the season. So this is going to be, your rookie managers against a rookie manager. And no, it's going to be a very, very interesting and big game. So you guys should please look out for this one.
Awesome. Mapalo, will you agree with the Zamjirian? Who's tipped Arsenal to win this one over Chelsea?
I'm not sure about tipping Arsenal, but I myself hope the Gunners can win. For my own various reasons. I've got a lot of Chelsea people pestering me in my inbox, so I would really like them to cry a bit. But I don't think I can say a lot more than the Zamjarian has said. Looking at two very attacking teams, Obama Yang might be playing his last game. Might be. They're still stalling over his contract talks, so you know it might be an emotional send off for him. And you know, the Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Ceballos, it's exciting. And of course, two defenses that leak heavily. But of course, Arsenal were boosted by the fact that 2 weeks ago they beat Liverpool, the champions, and Man City, the former champions rather, in the same week. And the defense looks like it's improved. Of course, they lost that nothing game against Aston Villa, but yeah. Also looking at Chelsea boosted by the fact that they've signed two very, very brilliant players, which are Hakim Ziyech, the Moroccan, and the turbo Timo Werner. Maybe that will boost them. They always seem to add silverware every season. They're a fantastic team. Christian Pulisic caused all sorts of problems when he came in our game against Chelsea. He's a brilliant player, and it's going to be a fantastic match. I just hope I'm not jinxing it, because it looks like an absolute humdinger. This might be revenge for Arsenal, for Baku, Europa. Yes, they were hammered 4-1 in the final, and you know, it's a blood-sort match, because Chelsea think they're the pride of London, because they say we have a Champions League and we have European trophies. You don't. But Arsenal say, no, we are the traditional big club in London. We have 13 league titles. So it's an interesting match. Wembley awaits, and we just hope for an entertaining match as neutrals.
So yeah, and then Musa wraps it up for us with that Arsenal versus Chelsea pre-match analysis. Who do you tip to win between the two London rivals?
Yeah, before I come to tipping, I think I just want to make mention that Mikel Arteta all week has been speaking to Arsene Wenger. You know, because Arsene won it 7 times, the FA Cup. So he's been talking to him, you know, to get some tips how to go about it, and he says. Really have been getting good briefings from the man that won it 7 times. So if it was here, Simbetikamba to actually consult my spirits. But it was an interesting game. When you look at Aubameyang, is one guy that is getting goals for Arsenal. You get to Lacazette, is playing well. The combination of the two, I think, is coming good. Is helping, and all of a sudden in defense now, David Luiz is stabilizing. Which is very good. I want to believe again that the youngsters that Arteta has brought into the Arsenal side are helping matters. They're playing well. But again, when you look on the other side in terms of Chelsea also, you need to give Frank Lampard a tap on the back, because he's also doing well. He's also brought in a lot of youngsters. By the way, you talk of Pulisic. He's an American. That guy is an American and he's playing well. He's getting goals. Look at his moves. Yeah, I think all things being equal, it could be snapped by a bigger club in Spain if Chelsea are not careful about him. But it's the coming to life of Giroud. At some point in January, Giroud was about to exit Chelsea because he wasn't having game time with the other coaches that were there. But now, when Lampard has come in, he's had trust and confidence in him, and the guy has paid back in terms of the header, because the guy can also score with headers, very good with headers. From set pieces, from corners, from all sorts of situations. Now, coming to who will be able to win it, very, very difficult for me to be able to predict, but. On the basis of what I have indicated, I want to believe that Arsenal has got the edge.
All right. Well, it looks like the three here believe Arsenal might just win it. Now, Fundis, let's move on to you. Who's your money on? Is it a mutual feeling? Do you also go with Arsenal?
Well, one thing that you must firstly note is that Chelsea's defense has been leaky. If you look at the top 4, Liverpool conceded, I think, the least of number of goals, 33, Manchester City 35, Manchester United 36, Chelsea 54.
Goodness.
So that tells you something about their backline, and they're coming up. Kepa, and I think that Willy Caballero could be starting, and it could be the last, that we see Kepa, because obviously some people are even saying send him to the under 23s and so on. But if you look at the Arsenal front line over Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Nicolas Pepe, and Alexander Lacazette. They look very good. And in their game against Manchester City, nobody gave them a song. Nobody gave them a chance. And if you look at the goal that they scored through Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, about 18 passes strung together, and they begin to play from the back. They look like Manchester City themselves, like Emmanuel had indicated, in terms of the way they string their passes at the Arsenal. But the danger is this, that if you're caught in possession at the back, and Chelsea, like I said earlier on, had demonstrated in the game against Manchester United, they can press high. And if they do press high, I fear for the likes of David Luiz, they'll be error prone. If Chelsea do press very high, because Arsenal want to play from the back. And if Chelsea do press very high, then their tactical formation is going to be in disarray. And that's where I have trouble in seeing how Arsenal are going to cope. I would want to think that if they play with the back three, it's going to help them. Unlike what they did against Watford, they had Granit Xhaka slotting in as an extra defender when the wing backs were moving up. But they raced into a 3-0 lead, if you remember. But they were left hanging on for their dear lives in the end because Watford came back with 2 goals. And that's where I have a bit of worry with the way they play, the Arsenal, in terms of stringing the ball from the back. But it's going to be very, very tough to call. Giroud coming up against his former side and Luiz coming up against his former side. So very interesting, matchup. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has gotten Arsenal to the final twice, the Europa League as well as the League Cup, the Chihuahua Cup, and he has ended up on the losing side. He's 31 years of age. If he wants to be remembered as a legend at the Arsenal, it's time that the Gabonese sniper led the Gunners to a title, because it will be a hat-trick of losses in the final for him if they lose again. And so it's extremely difficult to call. It might even go to penalties, but I'll fancy Chelsea to win it.
And I think we also need to just speak of the youngsters, Mason Mount and Bukayo Saka. These are boys playing very well. The coaches have brought them in and they're showing a lot of promise going into next season. So let's see how this one unfolds.
Talking of Saka, before we end, the Nigerian FA has thrown in the towel in terms of trying to lure the boy to come to play for Nigeria. Because at this time he's eligible to play for Nigeria and England. But they've thrown in the towel because it appears that the boy is leaning towards being Umusungu.
He's already played at the youth level.
He was born there
for England, and there are a number of them. Shola Amiobi, Victor Moses decided to play for Nigeria rather than England. But we know that there are more.
All right, okay, that's been signaled. We need to wrap up. It's definitely been an exciting show. It's mejores amigos para siempre, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to say
lights out. Wow.
It was going to
go. You are to appreciate.
Lorenzo, you are very fast. You acknowledge the lady who is not.